Good morning. Today's talk is going to be a follow-up on yesterday's, and I'm going to read fairly extensively from one of the responses to yesterday's video. The title today is a cry for justice ego-related. I cannot be accused of playing it safe and using only politically and/or spiritually correct language in my videos. I often go out on a limb and express ideas that I know will be misunderstood, and that some will judge me harshly for what I say. Sometimes this is done on purpose as a catalyst to get people to think outside the box. This is certainly true of yesterday's video about hanging bankers. I will talk more about this controversial subject today and try to relate it to the very human struggle to get beyond what, to me, are very real issues that must be addressed as we lawfully establish the One People's Public Trust, OPPT, and the Creators Value Asset Centers, CVACs, being created on Earth. Is the idea of justice obsolete and merely part of the ego so often demonized in our spiritual cultures? Is telling the truth politically and spiritually incorrect? What is the truth that will set us free and finally bring peace to Earth? Without making a lot of personal comments at this point, let me just jump in to what I'm going to read. I have a friend who is a mystic and a physicist who lives in Greece but was educated in the United States, named Aristomenes Christos Papageorgopoulos. A year and a half ago or so, he began sending me personal emails of extremely in-depth commentaries on my videos. And I encouraged him to get a Facebook account and start posting them on Facebook so that everyone could see them and share them. Of course, everyone means those that are subscribers to Facebook, and some of my friends have been very critical of me for saying, you know, why do you criticize us? Because we know what Facebook is. It's a tool of the enemy, and I don't want to be part of it. Well, so is YouTube, and so is Google, and so is Microsoft, and so are all the other tools that we've been given. We can look at them as weapons that invade our privacy and spy on us, or we can look at them as tools to help each other awaken. The choice is yours. But anyway, Aristos has been making commentaries almost every day for a year and a half, and even compiled a book of my videos with his commentaries, which is what 400 pages or something like that, and almost a full year of commentaries and videos. Anyway, here's what he wrote following yesterday's video. And I do want to say that I didn't get to read all of the many commentaries yesterday, and probably won't, but I always take time to read Aristos's commentaries because it's been one that's been happening for a long time, and I greatly respect his viewpoint. He wrote, "If the issues of the world and the talents were equally distributed in a kind of cosmic fairness, and if there were no contrast and no extremity in human society, then we would never be aware of who we are. Reflections would only reveal uniformity. We would live in perpetual compromise, and the separation would eat at our souls until we would all be uniformly psychopathic, with no solutions in sight. Logic, however, would say that such uniformity would be fair and just, perhaps conceptually, but it would also be the end of us and make manifest existence meaningless. Fortunately, this is not how existence operates, for its justice is far more genuine than the justice of human logic. That said, I would like to add that I agree also that these banker types are worse than war criminals, for they hide what they are, worse than serial killers and rapists, and any other criminal, for they perpetrate under the guise of being benefactors, thus promoting the wrath of the victim to point at anything it can, including those who are complicit but not the masterminds, when their masters offer them to throw dust in our eyes. If anyone deserves the death penalty, it is them. If you let them off, you have to consider letting everyone else off as well. This hits home when you or your loved ones are victims of very damaging crimes of rape, murder, etc. To me, this issue is still abstract. It really hits home when you are asked to forgive the rapist of your child or mate, and they laugh in your face as you struggle to find compassion for them. At the same time, dealing with personal pain and victimization is balanced when also considering the more abstract presentations of substantial but still rather abstract victimization, such as this issue. Let me just do something here. Making the print bigger so that I can keep my place. For me, it is important to consider priorities, even as constructive-oriented ideals like the OPPT need to be emphasized. They cannot stand alone when the challenge of neutralizing criminality faces us. If you think about it, the difference between justice and revenge is that justice does not lead to projecting the trauma elsewhere. It leaves us with the challenge of healing it in ourselves, with the assistance of reparations and the necessity of neutralizing the vector of offense and violation. From a metaphysical standpoint, killing someone leads to the essence they leave behind to simply migrate to those on the verge of criminality and psychopathy. This energy triggers catalytic events that push them over the edge as the leftover energy of the dead criminal becomes part of the reality and personal makeup. The body, however, keeps this demonic formation held in the individual representing it. Indeed, the death penalty is like lancing the boil of society, or he has off, but I think he meant of. But unless everyone is really ready to deal with the released pus, it will spread to the weakest links and infect them. In our society, the establishment, occult-oriented as it is, seeks to promote sacrificial death to harvest the energy of suffering innocence, but also the death of their own under conditions of collective vulnerability they have promoted with the cultural conditioning, trauma, desensitization, and poisoning, chemical, electromagnetic, and biological, of most of the human population. These people cannot be healed until the rest of us begin to heal. They will probably be the last to heal, and that will most likely be because we have learned to heal ourselves and the world, and will be in a place to consciously address what they are and how they are as the last and deepest remnant of the trauma. So my suggestion would be to contain them in solitary confinement, each and every one, with the promise of making the healing of psychopathy a priority as we address and repair the damage resulting from their activities. That is damage thousands of years in the making at least, but also at cosmic scales where the essence of the issue is concerned, and we are designed to heal it. I do not see what the Iranians are doing as justice. I do see it as karma for the bankers and all humanity. Under current conditions, it is to be expected. So I cannot condemn it without condemning myself for not being in a position to heal enough where I can offer an alternative and make it stick, be it through the seen or the unseen, or a bit of both. There's still more, but that's all I'm going to read for now. You can tell by what I just read the depth of Aristos's commentaries. They're always like that. They're almost always quite long, and they provide an added dimension to my videos. And for those of you on Facebook, you are aware of that if you've taken time to read Aristos's commentaries. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But this issue of justice is one that weighs heavily at the heart of everything that is happening on planet Earth right now, as the truth that's been hidden from us comes to light, and as we realize that the humongous conspiracy that has existed on this planet for a very long time, where a relative handful of people control the destinies, as it were, and the life experience of literally millions and billions upon planet Earth. And there is a new religiosity or a new spirituality that's developed, and of course political correctness is part of that new spirituality of saying only the right thing, like blaming the ego for one. This cry for justice is of the ego. No, it's a human cry that's been going on for millennia. The cry against the apparent injustice of the world, which, as Aristos said in his opening paragraph, provides us with the contrast to know ourselves for the first time, know ourselves within the context of separation consciousness, to actually realize what we are and what we are not. But we are both what we are and what we are not because we have created it so. And it is real experience. It's not just something of the ego to be denied and dismissed and repressed and suppressed and put down and put away. That's not it. We have to heal ourselves also, as what Aristos says. We have to do the inner work of healing the parts of ourselves that have been wounded through this time-space journey. And the One People's Public Trust sets the lawful foundation for that and creates the mechanism, the CVACs, to be able to bring that into existence. But the healing work still has to be done by the vast majority of people, and not one of us, not Aristos, not Ron Van Dyke, not anybody that I know has totally healed him or herself in this current matrix system that's still in existence on Earth. Even though it's coming to its conclusion and it's wrapping up, it's not finished yet. And the cry for justice is not ego-based. It is cosmically based. It is coming from the very heart of creation itself to sort of bring a balance, whereas there has been tremendous imbalance throughout our history, as we can easily observe and talk about and define. We have to get to a place where we integrate the opposites within ourselves. I agree with Ari that capital punishment is not the ultimate solution. First of all, death isn't real. But yet, millions have died at the hands of these bankers and their criminal attorneys and judges and politicians. Politicians being legislators that legislate laws that allow them to get away with it. Okay, these are criminal acts against humanity. These are crimes against humanity. And I totally agree with Aristos that these are the worst of all crimes on the planet, worse than any crime that we are aware of in our mass media. They are the worst crimes because they do lie beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. Most people still are not aware of the level of conspiracy that exists in our world. And until we recognize that shadow reality and recognize it as being part of ourselves, our collective self, if you will, we will not be able to become whole. We will not be able to heal without the recognition of what we have created. Whether it's an illusion, whether it's of the ego or not, is irrelevant. We have created it. We experience it together. Even if we isolate ourselves in some cave somewhere, in the mountains or in the desert or wherever, even if we do that, we are still touched by the collective consciousness of the rest of humanity. We are still influenced by what the earth holds in its elementals, in its own history of what has gone on this planet. We are called upon to heal that. And not the One People's Public Trust or the CVACs or anything is going to work completely until we do the inner work of healing. And the psychopaths that are representative of our most repressed shadow part, our most repressed shadow element, the psychopaths need to be dealt with. That is where all of the problems that we experience on earth come from. It's that part of ourself that they come from. It's that demonic part, that satanic or devilish part that comes bearing light, as it were. And it does bear light. But the light is partial. It's separated. It's not a light that liberates. It's not based on truth because it's based on lies. The Luciferian lie. Okay? But the Luciferian lie isn't totally a lie. There's truth in it. You shall be as gods. There's truth in it. And that's becoming whole. Becoming whole is, I am that I am. I am what you like and what you don't like. I am the light. I am the darkness. I kill. I make alive. There is no creator but me. And that creator is in all of us. And we together are co-creators, creating the reality that we're about to experience. We've reached the pinnacle of our evolution at this phase of our evolutionary existence. We've reached a pinnacle where we are about to tip the whole thing and turn and create an antiadromia, the reverse flow of energy that brings remedy to the peoples of the earth and allows us, finally, after all of the struggle of centuries and millennia, finally, we're going to be able to actually bring peace on earth. Finally, we're going to actually be able to love ourselves enough to love one another as ourselves. You see, we can't love one another when we don't love ourselves, and when we don't realize our own shadow elements, we project them on others, and when we're projecting it on others, we cannot be whole. We cannot be of sound mind. We are distorting our own image, and we all do it. We all do it. I'm not throwing stones at anybody. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. I do it. Aristos does it. We all do it. This is the game that we've been involved in. And we need to heal it within ourselves. And sometimes the death penalty is appropriate, but more appropriate, I agree, is solitary confinement. Let these people have consciousness, be alive, and kept in a place where they can ponder until they come to themselves as the prodigal son or prodigal daughter that they are. And those are just roles that we all play, prodigal sons and daughters who have gone into the far country to wake up and to become whole again for the very first time. Thank you for listening. Namaste.